Hey guys, how's it going? Gus back here at Backcountry Ballistics, and this week we're going to go through and do a pack dump. So coming up next week I have a 1 week long mule deer hunt with a buddy, and I have a bear tag that's open, and I think across the west a lot of mule deer seasons are opening, kind of getting into that early middle part of October, and we're going to go through and show you everything that I wear and also carry into the backcountry to be able to be successful and to live comfortably as you can back there. So pull the camera up a little bit and we'll kind of start going through some of this stuff. All right guys, so kind of a different view here. You can tell me in the comments below if you love it or hate it, but it's kind of the best way to get everything up tight and get you guys to be able to see what I'm talking about. So obviously, Arrow Precision Solus, the 6.5 Creedmoor, we talked about this in a previous video. Love this rifle. Rifle's already killed a buck for me this year, and yeah, super excited to get back up into the mountains and hopefully kill a bear with the same rifle. I do not have another deer tag. However, the buddy I'm going with has 2 deer tags, and again, I have a bear tag and wolf tag and mountain lion tag. So just enough stuff to make me want to pack a rifle up there. And at 11 pounds, it's not terrible to pack. So we'll take that up with us. So first things first, we are going to go over all of my worn items. So we're gonna go through and talk about all this stuff. This is all stuff. Again, guys, the whole kind of mantra of the channel is not paid and unpaid reviews. I don't collect a dime from any of these companies, and I've spent all my this is all my hard-earned money on all these products and everything. No affiliate codes, that type of thing. But you're gonna see, there's a lot of things that I use from probably Stone Glacier the most, right? But I've learned to trust their products, and yes, they might be a little bit more expensive than some brands out there. However, and going for a week and unsupported type thing and being 10 miles deep in there, like, kind of learned to trust some of those products a little bit more. However, none of this is saying that this is what you guys need to buy. Just because I've had a good experience with it doesn't necessarily mean you will, or just because I think that the Havalon pants are an awesome pant. Like, you might have a completely different opinion, and I think that's awesome. That's what keeps us growing and learning new things. So just because it's I'm going to talk about a certain product doesn't mean that I'm necessarily tied to it or affiliated to it, but that's just what I use right now. So again, going over the worn. So we're going to go bottom to top. These are a pair of crispy Brickstall mountain boots. They have 200 grams of insulation, and that seems to be just about the right amount to keep the really cold mornings away, but not completely sweat through them on these types of hunts. This type of hunt, we're looking at weather kind of from anywhere in the teens up to about 60 degrees. So it could do anything on us. We're expecting snow, that kind of thing. So I do want a full leather boot and be a little bit more burly. I'll pair that with the Darn Tough hunter sock. I believe it's the 2015 model. Don't quote me on that. I have a couple pairs of these, and they are awesome. They seem to be just enough to stay warm when it's cold, and they're not super thick to where I'm sweating through them in 10 minutes on, if we do get a 60-degree day or something like that. So that's the boots and the socks. Pair that with a pair of gaiters. This is the Peaks gaiters. They're good. I like them a lot. Some guys seem to have a lot more opinions about gaiters than I do. They're burly, they're tough. I've had them for a couple of years. I don't wear gaiters all the time, no matter what. I only wear them when I know conditions are going to be wet and that type of thing. So, but yeah, so far, love them. They're really good. We are going to be taking vehicles in part of the way on this hunt. So a couple of these items are not something that I will wear. However, they will be things I wear on on the four-wheelers on the way in and dirt bike on the way in, kind of thing. So big pair of heavy mittens. I really like these. I got them from Costco actually a couple years ago, and they've actually been really good. I think they're deer skin or a calf skin leather, and then just a thin layer of thin slate on there. And yeah, really like them. They're awesome for super cold, and especially while there's wind and stuff like that, if you're riding something. This is the Stone Glacier rain pants. This is gosh, what do they call these? I can't remember the name of the model, but they're rain pant, M5, the M5 rain pant, non-insulated, really great rain pant. I don't carry rain pants with me usually in the backcountry. I carry a tarp, and if I need to get under, out of the rain that bad, I'll usually just throw the tarp up and get under. But for on the ride in and stuff like that, cutting the wind, and also if there's moisture, M5 rain pants are really good. Yeah, really like their rain pants. So for just an all-around basic pant, I have the Stone Glacier de Havilland pant. This is de Havilland heavy, especially this time of year. Usually about October is when I usually go to a little bit heavier pant. Really like this pant. I've had it for quite a few years now, and it's held up well. Shot a lot of matches in it, a lot of hunts in it, and man, it just keeps on ticking. You say I lost my little zipper pulls, so I improvised, but I mean, not a lot of holes, not a lot of stains really, they really hold up well. This is the perfect weight for me this time of year. As a pant, I don't typically run a base layer. Just usually what will end up happening is I'll wear this pant and then put my puffy pants on when we're sitting around glassing and that kind of thing. So really like this pant. It dries well. Definitely probably used to dry a little bit better than it does now as things are getting kind of worn in and that type of thing. But overall, the Havilland pant for October hunts, it's like peanut butter and jelly, man. They're an awesome pant. So moving up, so base layer top. I found these this year during spring bear season. This is actually, it's a company called Bamboo Cool. I got them on Amazon. They're incredibly cheap for just a base layer top. I wore it a lot in the summertime and as well as kind of cooler temperatures in the spring, and really liked it. It does a really good job. I don't love merino. I hate smelling like a wet dog, and maybe I've just had bad merino, but every experience I've had with merino, it just tends to have this odor that after a couple days you just stink. And not that the synthetic is any better, because then you just smell like gross synthetic, but this kind of is a cool balance to me. It has a lot of synthetic in it, or a lot of spandex in it, so it's really stretchy and good. However, that bamboo in here, I want to say it's like 30% bamboo or something like that, but it actually does a really good job to me covering some of that the synthetic and spandex smell. It acts a lot like a merino in the sense it's kind of a little bit more of a odor fighter, if you will. One thing I will say is you can see here it's incredibly stained out. The stain protection on them is not good, so keep that in mind if you need to. But overall, I really like these shirts, and I'll wear this as a base layer the whole hunt, and been really excited and happy with these cheaper bamboo shirts. So love that one. This is something that I'll probably just end up wearing 90% of the time while we're up there. This is a Duckworth powder hoodie. This is a merino hoodie, so everything I just said negative about merino, I mean it as far as base layers and stuff goes, but this thing is awesome. This is the perfect kind of sitting around, glassing in the late morning, early afternoon type sweatshirt. If it's 40 degrees and under, I definitely am going to have this thing on. Just really like it. It's comfortable, it's cozy, it's great to sleep in at night and not have to sleep in a puffy coat or something like that if it's chillier. But really can't say enough good things about these. They breathe really well as you're hiking. I typically will take it off just because if I am hiking with a pack on or something like that, it will have a tendency, I obviously tend to sweat, so I will take it off if I'm hiking. But there has been times where I've, quick little half-mile rip up a ridge or something to get to a different glassing point and just keep it on because I'm feeling lazy and cold. But overall, these things are, man, they're worth their weight in gold. Yeah, love this piece. So and the last piece of the worn is going to be my bino harness. So Stone Glacier Sentinel bino harness. This year I upgraded my binos to a range finding bino. I went with the Leicas, and they require the large size. So in here have my binos. I do have a magazine on the side. Obviously this is definitely geared more for competition, but at this point too, I am so used to it from shooting competitions. I kind of like just keeping the magazine out of the rifle. It has a tendency, or I had a tendency to always kind of worry about checking to make sure the magazine was there in the rifle, because the last thing you want to do is bump the mag release walking through the brush or something and then dump a magazine and lose it. So I like that this is here. It also makes me feel a little bit better about, being around other people and stuff like that. Like there's just no way a round can get in there whatsoever. So it does have the Kestrel pouch right here. I just have the Kestrel, it's the 2700. This does everything I need. I run everything off my data off of my binos. as well as the Applied Ballistics app, but I have the Kestrel here to get me a wind speed at my location and kind of keep an eye on temperature and stuff like that, just to make sure what I'm seeing is tracking along with everything else. InReach on the side, InReach Mini, then a bottle of Windicator, and in here I just have a pocket of everything. So in here I got some eye drops, glass cleaner, lighter, tool for the Leica binos, extra earplug, a whole bunch of extra batteries, another lighter, and some more like optics cleaners type stuff if I need it. So I just keep all that on the side that, if I do ditch my pack, I at least have a fire with me and that type of thing. So other than that, I keep my tags back here in this back pocket, and yeah, that is my bino harness. Okay, so we're going to start on the outside of the pack, everything I got going on here. Hit a couple of the pockets and the side pockets and stuff, and the lid, and then we'll go into the main part of the pack. So on the outside of the pack, obviously you can see I have this orange pillow here. This is actually a shooting bag that I've made. It's out of a ripstop material filled with a very light fill, and only ends up costing me like 2 ounces. So I really like having it. It's really nice, especially if you are taking longer shots, to actually have a rear support and not just folding up a puffy coat or something like that. Or if you're wearing your puffy coat, you don't have to take it off real quick and shove it underneath the butt of your rifle. This is a dedicated thing that I just carry with me. Again, a very small weight penalty, and it works really, really, really well. It is not a Armageddon gear, game changer, heavy sand fill, but it does a really good job, especially in the backcountry at only 2.5, 3 ounces, I think is what it runs this at right now. I think this one's actually closer to, I think, maybe 2, but yeah, I really like that thing. This is kind of something I've added that's a luxury, not a necessity, but this is just an ice axe. This is a black diamond like ice pick for mountaineering. This thing is awesome when you're clearing out room for sleeping. If you're clearing out an area for a teepee, cutting a bed out of a steep hillside, cutting out even just a sitting pad for when you're glassing, stuff like that. You can get pretty crazy with it, and create little recliners and all sorts of stuff. But this thing's really great. I love it. It does come with a weight penalty. I believe this is about 5 ounces, so there is a little bit of a weight penalty here, but man, it's so nice to have that I've just kind of one of those things that I just pack. And again, you can call me silly or whatever, but I really like it, and it does a lot for me, and I like it. So love that thing. Tricer 80 tripod. First year running this guy. I've had a lot of different tripods over the years, but this tripod has been pretty sweet. It's incredibly lightweight for the size. I can glass standing up off this if it's really cold and stand next to a fire or something. So love that. It's a triple pull design, I guess, if you want to consider it that. But yeah, again, that's the Tricer 80, and just the weight of this thing compared to other tripods in similar packages, it's crazy. So love this guy. On the bottom here, I just have a sit pad. This is a Amazon special. You can get a pack of them for like $7. They're pretty sweet. It's got a little thermal side and then an orange foam side. I like that, and yeah, seem to go through them every once in a while. But at the end of the day, it's they're pretty durable for the price. This is a insulated water bottle, the Microlight. I think it's made by GSI. Really nice on these colder hunts, especially when we're expecting temperatures as low as we are at night, to know that I have some water in the morning that is not going to be frozen. And as well as, if I do want to make some coffee or a warm drink, or even just warm water, if I boil it, I can put it in here and then have something warm throughout the day to sip on and something like that. So it is nice. Is it a necessity? No, it's a weight penalty for sure. I don't carry these except for this time of year, but yeah, I really like these little bottles, and I'll use them this time of the year. So on my hip belt pouch over here, I have everything I need kind of in a hurry. So I have a tourniquet in that hip belt pouch and my headlamp. So also, kind of before I go up, I'll probably end up stashing some snacks on there just for during the hiking and stuff like that. If I need to, I can grab something quick out of there. So this side, in this pocket, we have a spotting scope. I always put the spotting scope opposite side of the rifle, so I carry my rifle on my right side. The spotting scope's going to go on the left side of the pack as I'm wearing it. And then I also try to pack stuff around that spotting scope to protect it. So a pair of down glassing mittens. These are a must this time of year. I have really poor circulation, so my hands and feet get cold quick. Down mittens are awesome. They are a lifesaver when you're sitting there glassing for hours on end, especially when mule deer move. So early morning, late at night, that type of thing. But love these things. These are the ORs. I think I got these on. If you watch them like the springtime, especially, you can pick them up on clearance and they're cheap. So really like those guys. In here, I also have just a pair of just kind of like leather palmed, just standard gloves. These are good for that early morning. If you're hiking or something like that, at least have something on your hands, but they're not too thick to where if you are working through some brush and stuff like that, they're leather palm, you can wear them and not sweat through them completely. Again, riding the four-wheeler and stuff like that, these are nice as well. So I do like these. They're not the warmest, but that's why I have the down mittens. If it's cold, I just go straight to down. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. I don't mess around. I go from nothing to down and as soon as we stop. So I do like those for walking though. Just a pretty standard beanie in here, Carhartt beanie. Then I have a Mystery Ranch pack cover. This is a pack cover I had for a pack I had a long time ago and just keep using it. I like how it's orange. It's nice to have a little bit of flash out there. I've never been in a bad situation with somebody else hunting or something like that where I really felt like the orange is necessary, but it's always just kind of comforting to have a little bit of orange on the outside, I think. I don't wear a vest, I don't wear an orange hat or anything like that, so sometimes some of this stuff, especially like low light, if we do have a buck on the pack or something like that, it's nice to have a little bit of orange going on. So I do like that. Spotting scope. This is the Zeiss Gavia 85. Really enjoy this spotting scope. I just got it off a marketplace actually late last year after my hunt. We'll do a video about spotting scopes and this one in particular. I do think the 85, it sucks to pack, but man, like you can't kill what you can't find. And not that I'm spending a ton of time glassing through the spotter, I'm usually using it to confirm or kind of judge something, but at the same time there will be times in the middle of the day where I pick through the shadows with the spotter, and man, the spotting or 85 just it's great. I love it. Love the glass quality in here. It's a really good scope. You can pick them up used for a really good price, and we'll do a little bit further review on this later. But I will just say one thing about spotters. I know right now kind of the craze is the micro spotters, if you will, the 55s and under. I had one of those before this, and there's a reason why I carry this now. The small spotters, if you carry a pair of 15s or if you carry a pair of something like that, bigger binos or something like that, you're just, the difference between the bigger binos and like that 55 spotter, it's just not there for me. So I do carry the big boy, and it sucks to carry, but I love having it when I do need it. So I think that is, again, rifles on the right side, so the side pocket on this side, I don't keep anything. It's completely empty. Every once in a while I'll throw like a trash bag or something in there if I'm running out of room on the inside, but that's where I'm at with this. Inside my lid, so my lid is my junk drawer, just like everybody says, and it's 100% true, but at the end of the day, it helps me stay a little bit more organized, and I appreciate that. So going through the contents, obviously a first aid kit, pretty important to have on the mountain, especially when you're back there a ways. So I have some combat gauze, some regular gauze, some hemostatic some Teflon bandages, a little bit of Vaseline, just some regular gauze pads for cuts and stuff like that. I have a needle catheter and some ibuprofen. So again, this is a pretty bare bones first aid kit. However, it gets the job done, and I have learned to work through a lot of those tools in there. So again, this hunt, being that we're expecting temperatures in the teens, I am bringing some hot hands. These are stupid heavy. I hate bringing them, but gosh, I love having them on the mountain, especially in the morning time. It's cold. I get cold easy, and man, these make it just a little bit more bearable. I'm only bringing 5 for this trip. I'm only expecting hopefully half of those days, or maybe one other day that I need the hot hands, where I can hopefully get by on the rest of it without the hot hands. So Water filtration. This is the Platypus filter. Man, this thing absolutely flies. So I've ran a lot of the B-freeze and stuff like that. They work. However, the B-freeze tend to, for me at least, get kind of gummed up pretty quick. Like I might only get 2, 3, 4 trips out of them, and then the B-freeze are kind of junk. So this thing's been holding strong for 3 trips now. So hopefully I can get 1 more trip out of it. But the B-free filters are awesome. They absolutely move water. I can do a liter in like less than 10 seconds. It seems like it's pretty cool. So toilet paper and a couple paper towels, and then a couple wet wipes, along with more wet wipes, the dude wipes. But I don't need to explain what that's for, but a little bit of toilet paper, quite a bit of toilet paper, probably about an ounce and a half of toilet paper. Then I also started bringing just like 3 or 4 normal paper towels to put in that little pack. It's really nice for after you are done cleaning something or working up an animal or something. It's kind of nice to have like a paper towel to actually like clean some stuff off without feeling like you're sacrificing your poop tickets, if you will. So never done the dude wipes before, especially a scented one, but curious to see this trip of how they work. So I'll let you know on that. This is one of those things that I packed that's a little excessive. However, to me it makes a lot of sense. But this is an AICS magazine. It's a 10-round magazine. So I used to carry like an ammo wallet and then just have 1 magazine with me in the gun. To me it makes a lot of sense just to bring an extra magazine. The last thing I want to do is find a buck of a lifetime and be stuck single feeding rounds through the rifle because I dropped my magazine somewhere and lost it. But this is a little bit of a weight penalty, obviously. You could use a polymer mag or something like that and be a little bit lighter. However, I use it as my ammo wallet, and I just kind of keep this in my lid, kind of forget that it's there, and go about my business. But I do know if things ever got real western, I have 10 extra rounds and an extra magazine, to where if I had an issue with my other magazine or something like that, I could use this and be good to go. Sorry, video cut out, so I was on my rant about my magazine. But that's all the pockets and lid, and we'll keep going into the main bag now. So open up the main bag. We're going to go from the top. Make things a little bit easier. So first things first on the top, just a simple 1.5 liter Nalgene bottle. I like this in conjunction with the 1 liter that's down there, and carrying around 2.5 liters of water every day at least is kind of my standard. I like that, works well for me. From there, we're going to go to sleeping bag. So I don't use any compression sacks. I just push everything into the pack, stuff it around all the little crevices I can, and it just saves me a little bit of weight with compression sacks and stuff like that. But I like the way it fills up my pack anymore, or more fluidly, if you will. So Chilkoot 15-degree sleeping bag. This thing, man, it's awesome. The extra width in here is wasted on me. However, it is nice to be able to roll over in the sleeping bag and not feel like I'm rolling out of the bag at any point in the night. Something I will do between now and when I leave is I'll take all my down, throw it in the dryer with 5 or 6 tennis balls, run it on a low heat cycle for a little bit, and kind of refluff this up. It's actually in pretty good shape, and if I were to leave it here for a few minutes and stuff, it would fluff up pretty good. But I do that before every trip, and that just kind of breaks up any down clusters in there and makes sure I have maximum warmth out of the bag while I'm up there. So yeah, really good sleeping bag. Moving on down, we'll open up the front zipper now. Again, we already did a video on this pack, the SkyTal 6900, but the front zipper, just being able to open everything up when you're getting to camp and stuff is pretty sweet. So this is my food bag. So I do have it in a dry sack. Not necessary by any stretch of the imagination. However, I think it's really nice to have this dry sack up there in case I do want to leave some gear at a certain part of the mountain or something and then come back to it, or hang some food if we're just going out for a day or two and come back to it. I like having the dry sack, and it does a pretty good job of keeping things kind of tight and contained for the hike in and keeping it tight in my pack. So also really great for packing meat at the end of the trip when we're successful. I do have 7 days worth of food in here. We'll go through and do a food video later on. I want to break down each day, the calories, and also the cost, because man, guys, honestly, like some of these trips get pretty expensive on food, but being able to do some of it on a budget and kind of splurging in some other areas, it ends up not being too terrible. So all my food's in here. One thing I do need to add is lunches, and I will add a bagel sandwich for each day that I'm up there. So I'll bring 7 bagel sandwiches. So I will add some weight to my food bag, but right now we're sitting at about, I think it's like 7 pounds, or excuse me, it's 13 pounds, just under 2 pounds a day is what I have in here right now. I'll add probably another, gosh, probably 3 pounds in those bagel sandwiches, so I'll end up being a little over 2 pounds a day in food, but I need it. I don't like bonking. I've done it before and it sucks, so I'll always pack a little extra food. Moving on down, we'll get into kind of other layers. So I do have the Stone Glacier Grumman puffy gear. Something we'll do in the future is do a direct review and comparison between like a really nice down gear like a Grumman compared to like a Black Ovis or something like that, because I do think that there's a lot of comparison and guys don't necessarily need to spend a crap ton of money on down gear. However, it is very, very nice. It is lighter, it is warmer, and it does a better job in a lot of different ways. But that being said, I would not let that stop. If you don't have this down gear, don't let it stop you from going into the mountains. Take what you have, go learn, come back and adjust. This is something I didn't explain is this, this is, a lot of this gear took a lot of time to get, and again, it's all bought and paid for by me, but it's not something that I went out the first year and had all of this great stuff. But yeah, that being said, the Stone Glacier Grumman puffy gear, I've yet to see anything better. It is absolutely ridiculously warm and does a really, really good job. So jacket and pants in that, I wear the snot out of the pants too. As soon as I get to a glassing point, I'm putting the pants on flat out. So love my puffy suit. Last thing as far as layers go is going to be the M5 rain jacket from Stone Glacier. Again, so the Stone Glacier M5 jacket does a really, really good job keeping water off, and as well as wind too. It's very, very waterproof. It is a lot like wearing a trash bag, so I don't hike in it, I don't move in it, but when I'm static and it's raining, or it's raining really hard and I do have to wear it as I'm moving, it does a really good job keeping stuff dry. I'm probably due for a refresh with some Gear 8 or something like that to kind of bolster up the waterproofing on this, but for the most part, really, really good rain jacket. So we'll go into like camp stuff now. So one thing I don't have in here is our shelter. But we're obviously taking a teepee and a stove system, so my buddy's taking the teepee. I'll be packing the stove later on. However, he's up on the mountain right now doing some scouting before we go up, so he has that with him. But it will be the Argali Absaroka 4-person teepee. 2 guys and a stove in there is kind of the perfect number. I haven't actually used that teepee yet, so I can't say exactly how it works. But the teepee this time of year is pretty clutch. So. Yeah, camp stuff. So kind of how I cook, how I do things, and we'll finish with sleep system. But so this is a little jet boil-ish type pot. So there's a company on Amazon called Fire Maple. They have this pot that I don't know how long it's been out, but I just got one a couple months ago, and holy cow, you guys, this is a this thing is awesome, and it's like 20 bucks too. So I do believe it's titanium. It has this little baffle ring around the bottom of it, and then your 3-prong burner, whether it be an MSR or jet boil or whatever, the prongs fit into those slots, and this thing boils water so fast, even at elevation. It just absolutely flies. So in here I have a MSR, just the stove head, not the whole, or excuse me, jet boil, just the stove head, not the whole like jet boil assembly. But again, you can see here, this fits onto those slots, and this thing will boil water in, like, no joke, probably like 20-30 seconds. It's so fast. So big fan of this little pot with that little heat ring around the bottom. Does an awesome job. So yeah, just real basic MSR burner, and I keep a lighter in there in case the little pipe pizza lighter or whatever it's called goes out on this. And then I have a fuel canister in here too. So I will do 2 heat up of waters during the day. So I'll do a boil at night for food with a freeze dried, and then I'll do a coffee in the morning. So I do bring 2 canisters on a week-long trip. That's kind of my breaking point. If it's less than a week, I just bring 1. I can guaranteed get by on that. If I hit a week, it's a little iffy. So I do bring 2 canisters and just kind of suck up the extra weight, but it is what it is. I keep a little microfiber towel in here. I keep my stove in that to, one, keep it from rattling around, but it's also nice at the end of boiling out water or coffee, just kind of wipe out the inside of the pot so it doesn't feel like there's always condensation and crap in there. So that's just my little jet boil cook system, if you will, and man, it does a really, really good job. I can't suggest that little pot enough. But again, just another MSR isopropyl canister. The 2 smalls get me through a week, probably more like, week and a half, 2 weeks, but I just, especially this time of year, I don't want to not have warm food at night, so I bring 2 of them, and it is what it is. Okay, sleep system. To finish off the sleep system, this is a pillow that I actually got from my wife on a recent trip. I was trying to make her, excited and comfortable while we're up there. I undid it and I was like, holy cow, I'm stealing this for deer season. So here I am stealing it for deer season. This thing's massive. It has a strap to go around your pad. It's completely unnecessary in a lot of ways, but gosh dang it, I'm gonna sleep good up there. So pretty excited about this pillow on this trip. So that's what I have for a pillow. The brand on that is UW Willon. So Amazon special, I think I paid like $10 for it. So pretty sweet, excited about that. Inside here, I have my sleeping pad and everything. So this is the Nemo Tensor. I believe it's it's a Tensor something. I can't remember the actual model number. It has an R value of about 5. So for this time of year, really, really good. I really like it. Put obviously the piece of Tyvek down on the ground, and then this right on top of the Tyvek, and that just protects it from any punctures or anything like that. It's also nice to have a little bit of Tyvek hanging out the side of it, so I can put boots on it or step on it and not feel like I have to go right from my sleeping pad to the dirt if I need to get up in the middle of the night or something like that. So yeah, the Nemo, this is the wide, so it is a full-size sleeping pad all the way through. It's not cut out for the mummy. I changed that last year, and I mean, I don't know if I'll ever go back. There's the hunts in the middle of summer where I know it's going to be, super warm and that kind of thing. I'll still bring like a traditional mummy style pad, but man, going to the wide just makes such a big difference in the way I sleep at night. Any tossing or tuning I do, I just don't slide off the pad, and it just makes a big difference. So even from a guy that's 5'8", it can make a difference in the way you sleep. And if you haven't tried one, maybe the next time you're getting a pad or something, definitely give it a shot. But nice to keep this little strap around everything and just keep things together, and that lives down the bottom of my pack. Then continuing on, so I have a pair of 15s. These are a very old set of Zeiss Conquest binos. Picked these up off of Craigslist actually, and paid a lot less than I would have paid for a pair of, any other like American made 15 or something like that, But glass quality is phenomenal, and I love how little they are. These are actually a lot lighter than my 10s, but so it just kind of makes that question of, do I bring the 15s, do I not bring the 15s? It just kind of takes that completely out of the question, and I really like these. These are the 15 by 45, so it does have a little bit smaller objective. Really late at night, next to a pair of like SLCs or NL Pures or something, absolutely they're not going to hold up to that level. I'm not going to say that they do, but they get me really far into that dark or that kind of twilight area without even questioning it. So I really like these binos, and they weigh like 20 ounces. So just absolutely going to take them every time, and I like that. That means something to me. So love those binos. The other thing in here, I kind of forgot to mention, a pair of down booties. These are super nice at night when you get back to the teepee. Kick on the down booties. I don't bring extra socks or underwear or anything like that. So having these down booties actually really aids in drawing the moisture out of my socks at the end of the day or something like that, and they're warm and they're cozy, and why wouldn't you like them? So gotta have a pair of down booties, and especially at like 2 ounces or something, they rock. Something else I have on this hunt, since we are expecting some snow, is a set of micro spikes. These are an Amazon special, I think, as well, but man, a couple times I've had to wear them. They do make a big difference, especially when you have a really heavy pack on. safety, and these out of layer safety, even at a pretty hefty weight penalty. I think these are probably about ½ pound. The micro spikes, just the really slick hills, even when it's not necessarily snowy but just muddy after say snow melted or something like that. You can see on here the little teeth on here. They're not messing around. They have a pretty good bite to them, and they do a good job. So a couple times I've had to wear them. Really glad I had them, and definitely something later season hunts I just suck it up and bring them. So going through there. Kill kit, yes, I vacuum seal kill kits. It's nice because it obviously takes a ton of the space out of it. I just throw it in the bottom of my pack and forget it's there. I have some Argali bags and a couple bags that I made out of some ripstop and a set of gloves in there. So just, again, throw it in your vacuum sealer, throw it in the bottom of your pack, and you kind of forget that it's even there. So that's nice. The water storage, hopefully on this trip, will be the first trip this year where we're not packing 95 liters of water up 85,000 feet, but if we do, we do. But that being said, I do carry 2 of the Hydro Pack bladders. Both of these are 4 liters. I don't usually fill both of them up. Sometimes I'll just fill one up and then just carry one. But then if I, am in a spot where I know I'm staying, holding camp down for a long time in one spot, I'll fill both of them up. And it's nice to have that extra water and not have to go back and forth between water. Then from there, just a contractor bag. These things are awesome. They work as pack covers. They work as game bag covers, and not getting your pack super gross if you're packing out a bunch of meat and the weather allows it. I definitely use these a lot, especially if you're stashing gear and moving on to another location or something. It's pretty cool to throw all your stuff in one of these and know that it's going to be safe and dry. These are heavy. They're 5 mil plastic, but man, they're worth having one of those on the mountain for sure. Just some 220 shot or 220 paracord, and that just works really well for me for hanging meat, hanging any food if I need to, and holding up a shelter, extra guy lines, that type of thing. The 220 to me makes a lot more sense. The 550 cord or the traditional like paracord is just really heavy to me. I don't need that much weight retention usually, just dealing with animals. I'm not trying to like winch myself out with it, so 220s works for me. Okay, last but not least, I have these little swing out pockets in here. I'm not going to pull them out, but I just keep them in here. These just ride down in the pack, and I pack around them, but there's a couple things in here we want to talk about. First things first is this solar panel. This is a pretty sweet little deal, especially I think it's like 3 or 4 ounces, weighs next to nothing, and it can charge a 10,000 milliamp battery in a few hours. So I know there's a lot of companies out there selling these for hundreds of dollars. This is a probably $15 one from Amazon. Had it for 3 years. It's seen some stuff, and it just keeps on trucking. So big fan of these Flex solar panels. So I have 2 pockets inside. One's electronic stuff, and then one's just kind of a catch-all pocket. But we'll go to the electronic one first. So inside of here, I have my battery pack. So I have a 10,000 milliamp battery pack. I have all these cords and stuff like that just taped to it. This is an Amazon find where basically every cord I need is on here, and then it has the USB that plugs straight into here, and I can start charging. So I just keep that taped to it, and that way I don't lose them and it doesn't come separated and that kind of thing. I have one little bag full of batteries and stuff in here. I have batteries from my Kestrel. I have an extra headlamp in here that if for whatever reason mine were to die, that one, my main one is rechargeable. However, it's nice to have this one. This one does have a red light, so if I'm really tight on animals, that kind of thing, I do have this one with a couple extra batteries that, worst case, I can get out with that headlamp. So a couple extra batteries for my Kestrel, and then a couple extra batteries as well for my the range-finding binos, the CR2s. Those binos eat through batteries like cereal, so I definitely keep a few of those with me. 2 extra ones in here, as well as 2 extra ones in my bino harness. I do have a AA in here in case that I ever need a AA or something like that. I have a couple things that run off AA's. I did not bring it this trip, but I do have one in there. So extra weight, but is what it is. So going through kind of the possible pouch or the kind of the extra pouch. This is kind of my catch-all. But there is things in here that are worth mentioning. So haven't ever done it before until my last hunt, but I brought a little micro bottle of deodorant, and you can see how well it held up. Just go ahead and toss that guy. But yeah, we won't be bringing deodorant, so that's fine. Got my spork, obviously eating any meals at night or making dinner or something like that. Spork lives in here. My knife, this is a fixed blade Essie knife. This was a knife I carried when I was in the military. It's a really solid, firm, or sturdy fixed blade knife, and just kind of been going more towards a fixed blade over like a replacement blade scalpel knife. To be honest with you, yes, fixed blade knives can be expensive. However, replacement blades, when you're buying replacement blades every year, like it just adds up. So just kind of going back to a fixed blade knife, and so far I've been liking it. I do have a little knife sharpener in here, just the pull through kind that if, mid animal, that kind of thing, I can run it through this real quick and at least get enough of an edge back on it to get the job done back to camp. So I have some fire starter in here. So I have some pyro putty in here. I don't always need pyro putty for sure. I think it's kind of a crutch, but at the same time, it is nice to have. It's an easy button when starting fires, and I keep a little bit in this old rogue pouch, and it's really nice to have when you do need it. On top of that, I have some KT tape. So this actually probably needs to go in my medical bag. However, I have this pre-cut to different lengths that if I ever needed to tape a knee or tape an ankle or something like that, I have enough of this to be able to do so to give some support to myself while I'm back there. Also, this is really great for blister prevention. So if I start getting a hot spot, I'll stop and take some of this off, cut a little piece, and it's stretchy, so I can stretch it out over the hot spot and secure it, and it's good to go. I really like this stuff. I have a couple extra buckles. I don't think a lot of people do this, but I carry a 1 inch and then a 1.5 inch buckle set. I think this is really important. If you ever have a buckle break in the backcountry, packing on an animal or something, it can be absolutely miserable. So having an extra buckle set, I think makes a lot of sense. And at the weight penalty of an ounce or two, it just, if something were to ever happen or break or something like that, I just don't want to be packing a JanSport out of the mountains with a whole bunch of deer meat in it or something. So having the extra buckles, yes, it sucks to carry extra weight, but it makes sense to me to have those. Toothbrush and toothpaste. I have a little travel toothpaste here that I fill up before I go, and then a toothbrush that I've cut the handle off of and works well. So little patch kit for sleeping pads. This has some tenacious tape in it. If I ever do get a hole in the sleeping pad, and it has some alcohol prep pads to clean it, stick the tape to, you're good to go. Another lighter. I have some alcohol pads that if I ever get cut or anything like that, these work really good. They also make insanely good fire starters, so I carry a couple of those in there as well. And then a flosser, because there's nothing worse than getting a piece of a nut or something stuck in your teeth for days and days and days on end. Don't ask me, I wouldn't know that, but if I did, I would tell you I always carry a flosser. So, but that is it, guys. That is the contents of my pack for this hunt. Again, we're going to be gone for about a week, and things are looking really good weather-wise and everything like that. So super excited about this hunt, and we'll wrap things up. All right, guys, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Super excited for this time of year. October is my favorite time of the year. The weather's phenomenal here in town, and also we get to go chase mule deer up in the mountains with a rifle. So pretty excited about what we're doing. If you don't have a hunt plan this year and you're planning for next year, just be excited. It's, sometimes it can be kind of daunting to, start going through all these packing lists and, working with all the gear, and just want to remember that, the gear isn't always the goal. The goal is to get out there and to do the thing and to go hunting and to, be in God's creation and to chase these creatures and to do those things. So, if you have, you don't have exactly the same amount of gear, or if you don't have certain gear, just tailor your hunt. This is for a completely unsupported, like way back in there type of backcountry hunt. You don't need all this if you're hunting from your truck. If you have a, Cabela's dome tent and you're hunting from the side of the road and you're going out a couple miles each day, you don't need all this stuff. So keep that in mind, and don't ever let the lack of gear keep you from going and experiencing the things that we get to experience, and the places we get to experience and being Americans. It's pretty special. So Thanks again, guys. Make sure you like and comment. Comment below. Tell me what I missed. Tell me things that you would do different or things that I could do better too. You know, I'm always learning and always adapting. So if you see something that's crazy, let me know. But otherwise, guys, thank you, and we'll see you next time.